All right, good evening. If you can hear me, say hi. Hi. Thank you so much. Thanks for your response. Very good evening. So, whether you're here in person or joining us online, to our friends online, hi, welcome. So, we're so excited to have you at Landing in Lion City. My name is Melvin. I'll be your MC. Pleasure to be here. This event is tailored for global talents, business leaders, and returning Singaporeans as well, who are eager to make this red dot, Singapore, their next career move or business destination. And today we will hear from people who have done just that, and we hope their experiences inspire and inform your own journeys as well. And to kick things off, please join me in welcoming, in a very short while, someone who plays a key role in helping global communities connect with Singapore. Ian Chung leads the Singapore Programs team at Singapore Global Network, part of Economic Development Board. With a career that has taken him across education, aviation, tech, and the arts, Ian is passionate about joining the dots and driving real-world impact. Ladies and gentlemen, can we please give a big hand to welcome Ian, please?
Thanks, Melvin. A very warm welcome to everyone again. Thank you especially to Anya and the whole Brunel team for working with us. My colleague Josephine at the back, hard at work still processing registrations. Thank you very much for joining us to run this event together. So I'll just give you a brief introduction about what Singapore Global Network is. We're a community building team within the Economic Development Board of Singapore. And what we're passionate about is joining communities of people who are interested in Singapore and want to remain connected with us through the network. So one of the things that we offer is a community platform, which I think some of you may actually be members of already. And what you can do through that community platform is connect with other people like yourself who are interested in Singapore in some way and find out about events and what's going on in the network. We also have events around the globe. So if for those of you who are joining us online, there may be an event in your city. So feel free to check out our community platform as well as the website. It's an app. You can find us on the app stores. And we hope that whether you're here in person with us or you're online, you'll enjoy the session that we have. And thank you very much again for spending this evening or wherever it is, what time it is in the world you are. Thank you very much for being with us today.
Thank you very much, Ian. Thank you for setting the stage. Thank you. And now, ladies and gentlemen, to bring in the workforce and relocation perspective, we have someone who has been at the heart of helping talents and companies land smoothly in Singapore. Rachel Goh is the head of operations for Asia at Brunel, with over 12 years of experience in global mobility and workforce solutions and an MBA from the University of Roehampton. Rachel leads a team that makes international transitions seamless and stress-free. So let's put our hands together and welcome Rachel. Welcome.
Thank you, Melvin. Thank you, SGN and EDB for having us here today. Appreciate all of you taking your time to be with us. I'm Rachel from Brunel, and joining me today are a team of experts from Brunel and our partners too. I have been with Brunel since 2011. During my time here, I have witnessed firsthand the transformative impact of global mobility on businesses looking to expand their operations in this dynamic region. The diverse growing markets of Asia present vast opportunities for companies seeking to enhance their international footprint. However, global mobility is more than just relocating somewhere. It involves navigating complex markets with its sets of unique challenges. The common factors that add to the complexity of global mobility: first, work visas. The process can be daunting. For some, as preparation of documents, including documents for your dependent visas, are usually not as straightforward. And it differs from country to countries as well. Understanding local taxes can also be overwhelming if you do not have the necessary knowledge. Finding a place to stay, to stay in an area where suits your lifestyle, that is also difficult. And this can be time-consuming when venturing into a real estate market. Lastly, integration into the community demands cultural sensitivity, adaptability, and overcoming social hurdles, which are all crucial for a smooth transition for yourself and your family. This is where Brunel and our partners come in to provide specialized knowledge and assistance to overcome these hurdles, allowing you to focus on on unlocking your global potential. Please feel free to speak with us, and our specialists who are able to guide you on the process during the consultation sessions later. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much, Rachel. Thank you. So now that we've set the stage, let's dive into the heart of the program, our success story panel featuring real people with real relocation journeys. So whether you're considering the move or managing one, the stories of the people that are joining us are full of practical tips and personal truths. So we've put together a powerhouse panel of professionals from different backgrounds, each with their own journey to Singapore, and allow me to introduce each of them as they take their steps towards their seat. Okay, first and foremost, we have Siva. Welcome, Siva. Let's give a big hand to welcome Siva, please. So a little bit about Siva. Siva is a returned Singaporean who spent years in the US and has come back due to family reasons. And we have next Anya. Anya is from the Netherlands. So let's give her a hand. Anya is a global talent who has relocated to level up her career and broaden her regional exposure. And joining us, we have Will. Will you join us? Will is a business consultant. Thank you for your applause, ladies and gentlemen. Is a business consultant who relocated to Singapore to lead the expansion of a company into a regional hub. And last but not least, someone we're familiar with already, Rachel. Rachel will be joining us to share her expertise as well. Let's give her a hand. Thank you so much. Thank you. So thank you all for joining us. Thank you for taking the time to be with us here today. What's going to happen is I'll be asking some questions, and if we have time later on, we will be asking some questions. We'll be allowing our floor to ask some questions if we have time. Okay? Let's see how that goes. But before we jump into the big stuff like work passes, housing, and careers, let's start with a fun note, an interesting note. The quick question for our panel is, what is the most Singaporean thing that you have done since landing or returning? Perhaps we can start with Siva, since you're a returned Singaporean. Yeah.
No worries. Thanks. Okay. No worries. Thank you. This will be a little funny because of the stereotype. First thing I did when I came here with my family, right after COVID, we reopened after COVID, is I hit just about every hawker center nearby we were staying.
Wow.
To try to find the best prata, best satay, best Hokkien noodles. So it's all about food, right, with Singaporeans.
Yeah, if you're Singaporean, you will definitely love food. It's a number one identifier. So thank you very much, Siva. Hope you enjoyed that hawker trip. And what about you, Anya? As in, what was something Singaporean that you did?
Yes.
Yeah.
Quite similar as well, of course. What else can you do here than eat food every day, and good food? So I also went to all kinds of different hawkers to explore the frog leg porridge, the durian, the kway chow, the chili crab, of course.
Wow.
And besides that, I also did a Singlish course, because I
Singlish
noticed
course.
immediately, I thought everyone speaks English, but it's with a la.
La.
So let me dive into that. So I can really recommend to do a Singlish course as well, and practice it a lot with the people around you.
Interesting. Thank you so much, Anya. Thank you. So what about Will? What was the most Singaporean thing that you've done since landing or returning?
Yeah, so for me, it was, I struggled to order coffee when I first arrived here. And I had to Google,
kosong, kopi si, kopi
so
sudah.
I had to Google, how to order coffee in Singapore, and it's like a chart, a picture of a 4x5, like 20 different drinks that how do you order to a Singaporean. So that's what I did, and I practiced a lot.
Yeah, so if you want to get a discount on your coffee, by learning those terms, you can have a 75% discount compared to Starbucks. Really, like your Americano compared to your kopi kosong. Yeah, so it's like 75% off, right? So let's skip on to first impressions. Let's go back to the first weeks in Singapore. The question for all of you, will go one by one, is what surprised you and what was harder or easier than expected? Perhaps Anya can begin.
I think what surprised me here when I got here was that the city is so convenient. And
Convenient?
convenient
Okay.
in terms of transportation. I'm used to ride a bike for half an hour.
Netherlands,
which is
right?
In Netherlands,
Yes.
which is quite fine. But here, my colleagues told me, why do you walk 10 minutes? Everything above 5 minutes is far. So, yeah, that was the first thing I noticed here. The MRT, the buses, even taking the Grab, it's so easy.
It's much faster, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And what was harder? Running in this climate, to be honest. Yeah, I like to run, so I joined the local Singaporean runners club and the Chinese runners club. It took me a while to get the body adapt to the heat. Yeah.
Yeah, even for me, it's the same. Yeah, after many years. Yeah,
Right.
so it's fine. Yeah. So and what about you, Will? What surprised you? What was harder or easier than expected?
Yeah, so for me, it's also quite similar. First is the climate. I didn't expect it to be this hot. So I'm Taiwanese Canadian, so I know the summer in Taiwan it's also very hot. But I was working in Denmark before I come to Singapore. So it was a quite extreme switch from Denmark to Singapore.
Yeah.
And I
would think so.
arrived April last year. So it was also like very humid and very hot. And we kind of spent the first 6 months struggling, figuring out where to best turn on the AC at home, because you don't want the one in the room because you get too cold and too dry. But so you actually want to turn on the AC in the living room and then use a fan to kind of blow it into the room so you can have a good night of sleep. So that's something for me to adjust. And then something surprisingly convenient is the distance, because I think before I arrived, I did a lot of homework, where to live, where the kids should go to school. And on the map, I think in reality, it's the distance a lot shorter than how it looks like on the map. So that's my takeaway. I think the people who would want to move to Singapore, maybe you don't need to overestimate the commute time. You know, everything is quite accessible by public transport.
Central. Seems like the weather is a common theme. Weather is a common theme. And as a returning Singaporean, is it the same? Is weather an issue for you and your family? You have 3 kids, right?
Yes, I have 3 kids and a wife. That's a big family. I actually want to echo a little bit of what both Will and Anya said. What was probably a little bit harder for us is the weather, but I think there's ways to work around it, right? And rather than from my perspective, I'll answer from my wife and my kids. My wife was a little bit concerned about distances in Singapore. Even though she's visited Singapore with me, but coming from the US, she wasn't sure, hey, are we going to live somewhere too far from her work and so forth? So we were very specific in where we found housing. Now, after having been here for 3 years, she's actually pretty comfortable going much further away because the public transport system is actually very good. So one of the key things I would encourage the audience is to be comfortable to check your assumptions on when you're moving and where you're going to be located, because it may be quite a bit different. And talking about the weather here, my whole family is now used to Singapore weather. I'm still not, unfortunately, and I'm the Singaporean.
You lost your weather genes.
I lost my weather genes. But we were actually a little concerned about other things, having young kids, for those of you with young kids. How do you keep them occupied? Because in the Bay Area, we had annual memberships to Great America, which is a theme park, the Children's Discovery Museum, the San Francisco Zoo. So there's somewhere we can always take the kids to keep them occupied. We were worried about, hey, if you come here, is it going to be different? Turns out it's not. It's the same. You can get annual memberships to the zoo, to the science center. And by the way, something that's unique to Singapore, at least I haven't seen it elsewhere, there's all these great indoor playgrounds for the kids that's air conditioned. So send them in. They have a lot of fun playing.
Yeah, and you can go shopping. No, just kidding. I have a daughter myself. So about the weather, if you're concerned about the weather, we actually have air conditioning everywhere. Like our entire the mall system, the MRT system, everywhere is like air conditioned all over. Yeah, so you may not even have to step into the sun sometimes. Like from the morning, once you step in the MRT, all the way through the day, you would really get in touch with the vitamin D. Yeah. So okay, let's yes, Will. Yes, sure.
So one of very good tip that my Singaporean friend told me before I came is he said check out on Google Earth how it looks like, and you need to make sure everywhere that you need to walk is shelter, and that's very important because all the sun rains in the afternoon, in the evening. I think that's quite key for somebody or the audience that online that haven't been to Singapore. I think
True.
You should check out on Google Map, Google Earth to see exactly how it looks like and picture how you're gonna get to from one point to the other.
True, but at the same time, a lot of places are sheltered as well, right? Like through the years, I think Singaporeans feedback, and then there's more and more shelters and covered walkways as well. Yeah, interesting. Okay, perhaps we can jump to living and working in Singapore, because we want to understand from your perspectives about the realities of daily life and adaptation, and perhaps. Will, you've brought your family with you as well. Can you share with us a little bit more about living and working in Singapore? How do you cope with settling in? And were there any unexpected hurdles for yourself?
Yeah, I think it still comes to two things. One is housing, one is schooling.
Housing and schooling.
And these two items will represent the two highest cost for any family.
True.
Especially if you have young children. So I think what I hope I had done was, because of how the contracting worked with my employer, we had to come here, and then he gave me like a 2-week stay in the hotel. So I had to lock in an apartment before I know where my son is going to the school. So that's something in retrospect, I think. And it depends on the priority of your family. If you want to prioritize being close to school, then you need to know where your children are going to school first. If you want to prioritize where you're living, and maybe you have your close circle of friends already in Singapore, you want to be closer to them, then you prioritize that. So I think it's important to figure out and clarify what's your priority, and then make sure you know that first before you decide either the school or the housing. In terms of on the business side, I think I was fortunate because Brunel was helping my employer to bring me to Singapore, because we didn't have an entity in Singapore. So it was actually a back-to-back contract. My company with Brunel with me. And for me, that was very convenient, and I didn't have to worry about being tax compliant, the payroll. It's all taken care of by Bruno. Rachel was actually the guy who signed the contract with me, so I recognize the name, and now I meet you. But I think that's the advantage of working with somebody like Bruno. I remember the contract negotiation stage took a while. And I was quite anxious because I need to know when do we actually need to move. And later on, I kind of take the comfort that it's taking long because the legal side of the two companies are going back and forth. And it's because Bruno is telling them, which is in most of your cases would be a foreign company that doesn't know Singapore well enough. Bruno is telling them, you need to be legally compliant here for all these items. And in a way, I feel comfortable, because if Bruno is taking that long to finalize the contract, I feel I'm quite protected. And in fact, I think Bruno was, at the end when I got here, Bruno was actually getting the most premium insurance plan for me and my family, and all the tax compliant Bruno is taking care of for me. So that was quite good.
So that probably took off quite a lot of stress from you as well, because it can be quite stressful to move so many things, housing, kids as well. Yeah. Anya, so Anya, you are from the Netherlands, so you don't look like the typical Singaporean, of course. So just want to ask you a little bit more about how do you manage the local networking and adapting culturally? So you mentioned that you went for a Singlish course as well. Yeah. Were there other things that you did for yourselves to integrate yourself into the system to make yourself comfortable?
Yeah, sure. So I don't have kids. I came here with my partner, but I came here a month before my partner came, and I didn't know anyone except the colleagues, of course. So what I did was the first weeks, every night I went to a different hawker. Of course, try the food, but I approached all the aunties and uncles.
Really?
Yeah, at first they were a little bit hesitating. Why does this lady, this Angmo, want to talk to me? It's all lady as well, but they're sitting. So I explained that I am new here, that I want to learn about Singapore, the do's and don'ts, integrating in the culture. And actually, after I explained it, some of the aunties and uncles, we had hours of chats about the CPF funding, and actually it turned out that also a lot of them are actually quite lonely, so they really enjoyed the talks. So that was what I did the first weeks. And in my role as a regional sales manager, I need to talk to people, I need to build relationship. And starting from scratch, of course, is not easy, but I think the strength of Singapore is, and we talked about it earlier, every week you can visit events at the Expo, Marina Bay Sands. There are so many different kind of chambers, and that really helped me to build my network rapidly.
So you found yourself going to many events through the time, and there is definitely no short supply of that in Singapore. At Marina Bay Sands, at Suntec, and many other places as well. There's lots of different things. Yeah.
And last but not least, since I love running, I asked my colleague Elvin, who's here as well, who also runs. So we start running with Brunel Group, and then he said, "Yeah, why don't you join the Singaporean Runners Club?" Until now, I joined it, and I really enjoy that, and also the Chinese Runners Club. And I think also a strength when it comes to those communities, they are so professional. They all volunteer work, but every single run, they have different kind of paces. They even have drinks, sometimes food, all the sponsoring. I've never seen that anywhere else in the world. Yeah.
Interesting.
So I really can recommend that as well if you like running.
Wow, sounds like you integrated really quickly. So thank you very much for sharing, Anya. And Siva, so as a returning Singaporean, was there any major issues with living and working, living in Singapore? Any adjustments, or was it like very quick for you? Or because you've been away for about
20 years.
20 years, right? Do you feel that it was a big change, and how do you adapt?
So, a couple of different things there, right? When we moved here, my wife had transferred with her company to a local organization. So for her, it was a regular job. You go in the morning, come back in the evening, and so forth. I was actually working remotely for my US-based company for about 1.5 years after coming here. Best advice I can give for those who are relocating in a manner similar to me, where you're working remotely, stick to the time zone you're working for all 7 days of the week. Don't flip on the weekends. It's just going to mess you up. You're going to be on like permanent jet lag all the time. So it did mean for about a good 18 months, I was sleeping during the day and I was awake all night. And so my schedules got flipped, and my Mondays were like other people's Saturdays. Because of the time difference, that's when you got caught up on stuff and so forth. But if you're going to be working remote, stick to the same time zone. It's an advice I got before in my career. I never thought I would have to use it. I had to use it when I came to the US, and it turned out it's very effective. The other thing that I would recommend, and I think people have touched on different parts of this, both Will and Anya, during this conversation, there's a lot of opportunity in Singapore for people who are looking to do things here. And the best way to leverage the opportunities is to align with where policies are. One of the benefits about Singapore, which is what many of you may be thinking about, is very strong government support for the economy. Like this event is hosted by EDB. You have organizations like EDB, IMDA, and so forth. Find out where the government policy is, what direction they're going, and then try to align your career there. It'll unlock a lot more stuff. And, or if you're planning to start something new, like what I've been kind of kicking around, you might find there's a lot of opportunity here, and then you can leverage the region for scale out. So those are some of the things that may be valuable for people to think about.
Thank you for sharing, Siva. Thank you so much. So next we'll move on to what helped you the most. So I think that was what Will covered quite a bit. So perhaps we'll jump over to Anya. So moving countries is not easy. How do you figure out the work passes, housing, and local systems for yourself before you came?
Yeah, of course, before I came here, I had no clue about the different kind of work passes. But luckily, I have a team in Brunel who provided and supported for me and explained the whole procedure quite well. In terms of housing, so before I got here, already picked on Property Guru, which I got to know from the colleagues as well, from Rachel's team. And as soon as I got here, they arranged an agent, and together with that agent, we visited a lot of different condos, they call it here. So in the end, yeah, we made a choice and we end up in the east. So that was actually really well arranged. And even the first day when I came here alone, simple things like opening a bank account, you have no idea how that works here. So you need some help and guidance with that as well.
Thank you very much, Anya. And perhaps Siva. So you're a returning Singaporean. What helped you most in managing the transition and assessing support systems in Singapore, especially for your family? Because you're more familiar with this place, but for your wife and your family, how did that work out?
It's actually pretty funny. My wife seems to have figured out more resources than I did. So a bit of a failure on my part. I've been out of Singapore for about 20 years, right? So coming back is a big change. And important thing which I had to repeat to myself, check your assumptions. So there's a lot more resources and so on available today. And especially for those of you with families, with young children, Singapore is a great place. I feel I'm capable of saying that, having been in the Bay Area for 20 years and here, just because of the amount of resources available for young kids. And these are some of the key things I would recommend you checking out. We have our People's Association membership, our Active SG membership. This gives you access to a lot of facilities for classes, for events, and so forth. Check out your residence community and CC network, your RCN network and CC network, because that if you want every weekend, and my kids literally do that because my wife program manages it, there's some event they go to somewhere on the island about some festival or something which gives them a lot of fun and keeps them occupied. So get plugged into Active SG, get plugged into the People's Association, get plugged into your local RCN and CC, and you can easily integrate into the community and have a pretty good time. And also know what's available out there.
Yeah, certainly true. It really depends on how much you want to put into, how much energy you want to put into, and you will definitely get back in return or whatever you put in, because there's just so much happening around in Singapore. Rachel, we're jumping to you finally. So as Will mentioned, there are lots of things that you help in relocation, but so you supported countless relocations. What is one common mistake people make or companies make when moving to Singapore, and how can they avoid such a mistake?
I think under planning is one major mistake that people make. You are moving the whole family, for example, to a new location. go for your pre-planning, pre-move consultation. You know, go for it because you need to understand the timeline. Are you going to move first? Is your items going to move first? Your kids' schooling as well. You know, your housing. So all this need to be planned in a good timeline, so that when you are here, you're able to have everything transit seamlessly.
If they want to move by 2027, what's the timeline that we're looking at, or depends on the person and situation?
It depends on the amount of staff that you have, where are you relocating from to Singapore. So it depends, it can go from weeks to months. So it's always good to already pre-plan depending on where you are actually.
Thank you very much, Rachel. And now let's talk about the bigger picture. What makes Singapore worth it? With questions prepared for each of you. So perhaps we'll jump to Will. So Will, you are a business consultant moving here to expand your company into a regional hub, right? Can you share with us what makes Singapore a strong base for scaling a business?
Yeah, I think it's a lot of it's the same reason as a lot of foreign companies that choose Singapore as the APAC hub. It's the language. Everything is in English. And then sort of the rule of law is very clear. The history with the British system, and that's for foreign companies that they feel very comfortable to that, versus if you ask them to set up in Japan, Korea, Taiwan, they need to overcome those hurdles of languages. And I think another major consideration is tax. That makes a lot of sense for company because of the benefit of low tax in Singapore. I think that at least for my company, that's the consideration, and also geographically. So I cover the region, which is Taiwan, Philippines, Australia, New Zealand. So I'm placed somewhere where I can easily travel to those places. So for me, I think those are the three major considerations.
Thank you very much for sharing, Will. And perhaps we move to Anya. So Anya, you've moved to Singapore from the Netherlands. How has moving to Singapore benefited your career or personal growth? Because I can see that you're a very growth-minded person. You approach aunties to chat. Wow, I've never heard anyone do that, but you're a very brave person. So how do you feel that this place has helped you to grow professionally and personally?
But I also have to say, my partner came with me, and he gave up his own company to follow my dream. So actually, all kudos to him as well. But I think it's stepping out of your comfort zone is not easy. But I think it's the biggest ingredient to growth, not only on your personal level, also on your professional career. I think this has been a whole journey, and for those who have experienced this in the past as well, a journey goes like the waves, right? It goes up and down. That goes also together with your family or your partner. Like for example, my partner came here without a job. So how do you get along with that? I'm full-time at work. When I come home, he's there and he has nothing to do. He doesn't know anyone. So that's also a challenge, that you need to communicate with each other, to help each other, of course, in the weekends to explore. But that's also a big hurdle you have to overcome. And yeah, you share that together. It's a journey that you go together through. But I can say on a professional part, yeah, it's been such a growth to work at the other side of the world with so many different cultures, nationalities. Like, I'm Dutch, I'm pretty direct, but I can't do that in every conversation. So you need to find ways to get along with that. So yeah, it's stepping out of your comfort zone really grows you a lot as a person.
Thank you, Anya. And Siva, perhaps from the angle of a returning Singaporean, and so perhaps addressing people who are thinking about coming back, what kind of opportunities do you see for Singaporeans returning home, if they're thinking about it?
Coming back is a big decision, right? I have not regretted it, and I'll say my wife loves the place. If she was here, she'd be singing praises nonstop. So she's even a bigger fan of coming back than I have. But when you want to look at the opportunities, I'll touch back a little bit on what I mentioned earlier. Look at what Singapore stands for. That will show you where you probably have the best chance to succeed. We'll share that British system, clear legal system, good transportation, access to a lot of liquidity, cash, and capital. That normally will align you to finance, sales, business, and corporate development roles. But I don't want to undersell engineering or product design roles. There's probably, frankly, a little bit less investment from what I can see, and this is anecdotal and not qualitative, not quantitative. There's probably a little bit less investment in engineering going on in Singapore now than maybe 15 or 20 years ago. On the other hand, you have very strong policy level support from the government for very specific areas that they want Singapore to succeed and invest in. Like, for example, lots of investment going on into AI in Singapore, into green energy in Singapore. So for engineering-related roles, if you want to see the biggest opportunity, see where the government is going, align yourself there, because the public-private partnership in Singapore is very strong. So a lot of private companies tend to follow because they get tax benefits, credits, and so forth to invest in those roles, which will naturally mean there's opportunities. And the other thing, beyond just looking at, hey, I want to get a job with a salary and pay tax, think about something about doing your own thing. There's a lot of opportunity in Singapore to build your own company because your cost structure in Singapore is very low. And again, if you align yourself back to corporate policies, to government policies, you have a lot of government support from EDB, IMDA, the various 3 or 4 letter acronyms that will help you succeed.
Thank you very much. And that brings us to the end of our panel discussion. Big thank you to our panelists, Siva, Anya, Will, and Rachel, for your honesty, energy, and stories. You've shown us that while every journey is different, success in Singapore is definitely within reach with the right support. So can you please give our panelists a big hand, please? Thank you so much. And so some closing messages for this segment. So if you're thinking about moving or thinking about making a move as a job seeker or as a returning Singaporean or a business, both SGN and Brunel are here to help. So please reach out to them anytime. So right now we're moving into our workshop session, and this is how it will work. If you are tuning in from Zoom, you'll soon be prompted to join the breakout rooms, each representing a different interest, be it career advisory, work visas, pre-move consultations, and more. You can move between rooms anytime by clicking the 4 square icon on your Zoom screen. So look out for that right now, 4 square icon to move you between the rooms. The rooms will run concurrently for 15 minutes, so feel free to ask our specialists any questions that you have. All right, so we'll see you in the breakout rooms. For those who are here in person, you would have received a roadmap card, if I'm not wrong, a roadmap card upon entry that will guide you to our theme booths over on your right-hand side. Just some quick notes about 3 of our partners here. Allow me to introduce them quickly. First and foremost, we have Expat Living. Is Expat Living over here? Okay, we'll see how that goes over that side. Okay, so whether you are an individual planning to move in or out of Singapore or a company managing global talent, Expat Advising offers a one-stop solution, securing success before and during expatriation and when you choose to come back home. Next, we have Holland International School. So with over a century of experience, they offer Dutch and English education for ages 1.5 to 12 years old, and they will be answering questions about schooling and education. Last but not least, we have Family Movers, celebrating their 50th anniversary as one of Singapore's longest established global relocation companies, and they're trusted for their personalized service and a worldwide network of over 1,400 partners. So ladies and gentlemen, feel free to browse, feel free to mingle and speak directly with our panelists as well as our consultants from Brunel as well. So please make sure that you make most of it and of course enjoy the evening. Thank you very much. Please give a big hand to our panel once again. Thank you, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.